If you're considering selling your property in 2025, I want to show you exactly what the market is doing right now in Stillwater, Minnesota. This video is not going to be covering a lot of stats and numbers and percentages that don't mean anything to you. I'm going to focus on a couple of stats that will mean something to you, because if I were to be watching videos, I'm always thinking, what is in it for me? How can I provide these videos to be most valuable to you? Instead of just regurgitating a lot of numbers, let's focus on the most important ones that actually affect you selling your home in Stillwater. The latest information that we have right now is from December 2024, since we're not done yet with January 2025. So let's start with these numbers. I'm sharing my screen. As you can tell from this line graph here, this bar, it is a seller's market, which as of right now, compared to St. Paul is actually a buyer's market, but Stillwater and Mendota Heights, I did that one earlier today. Stillwater is very much so still a seller's market. So good news for you as a seller. Months of inventory can be important. That's not what we're seriously going to focus on today, but months of inventory means if no other homes are going to be placed on the market, right? If no one else said, I want to place a home on the market, how many months will it take for the inventory to be scooped up, go under contract, and go away? 1.6 months, so less than 2 months. This number is the number that I want to focus on. List to sold price. I think this is one of the most important numbers to look at. There are some variables that come with this number, so it doesn't mean that when you're listing your home, you can just list it at whatever and you're going to get 99.6% of whatever you're listed at. This means that a home that is properly listed at a market price, not seriously above, not seriously below, but a realistic number, you are likely to get 99.6% of asking. This is amazing. This is one of the highest in all of Minnesota at this time. So you are in really good shape if you plan on selling a property in the winter months, January, February, maybe even March of 2025 in Stillwater. How many days can you expect for your property to sit on the market? Expect around 25 days. That's also pretty good. The median sold price is a little bit higher than last month at over $500,000, 521 to be exact. That's for single families. If you plan on selling, say, a condo, townhouse, or apartment, let's take a look at that. Not too many, but you can expect around 97.7%. It's still a seller's market. Those sell faster than single family homes, so 15 days on the market. And those, of course, is going to be a little valued less than a single family. But back to single families here. The median estimated property value, as you can tell, the blue is Stillwater. It's above Washington County. It's above the yellow, which is Minnesota, and above the red, which is US. I'm not going to spend too much time on that one because it doesn't really serve you. Who cares how much your property is compared to the rest of the US? You want to sell and net the most for you amongst the other competition within Stillwater. This graph is going to be a little bit more important. So the median list price of new listings has been $525,000. There were 17 new properties that hit the market in December 2024 in Stillwater of single family homes. That's fewer than the month before, but that's to be expected because the housing market tends to die down a little bit in the late months, November, sometimes October, November, December. They tend to die down a little bit, especially before an election year. And now that the election is over, the buyers have come a flocking, so they are ready to purchase. So let's look further at this graph because I want to show you the peaks and the valleys. So for example, there were 56 homes. This was the high over the last year. 56 new listings of single families hit the market in May of 2024. The lowest was in December of 2023, which were 8. Compare that to December of 2024, which was 17, more than double. The activity overall is still higher than it was this time last year and a half ago. And overall, from this graph, you can see the low December, the high over here, July, the low December, the high over here, June, July, low December. You get it. So again, instead of just throwing information at you, what does this mean to you as a seller? If you need to sell in October, November, December, expect that there are going to be fewer homes on the market. So that could be a good thing because you're not competing against other single families that are hitting the market since you're one of very, very few. The buyers that are searching during the holiday months, October, November, December, they're serious. Otherwise, they would be waiting until the summer. So there are pros and cons. If you need to sell during a winter month, that's not a bad thing because you would only be competing against 19 other, new listings that hit the market, or 9 other new listings last year, 17 other new listings, as opposed to 56 properties that are also hitting the market. At that point, it becomes a what can I do to make my property stand out that drives eyeballs and footsteps into my property as opposed to others. As far as active listings, at this time, you can expect 68 median days on the market before you go under contract. Let's look at some quick highs and lows here. 89 days in December. The lowest was in April, 27 days. August, 30 days. December, the high of 109. As you can tell, the summer months, 19 days. Winter months, 79, 80 days. So overall, 65 to 80 days during the winter months on the market before you go under contract. Or you could sell a little bit faster, but of course, even though there are more buyers, there are also more sellers and more properties for buyers to look at. Now I want to jump to the sold listings, actual data, not pending because anything can happen, but actual sold data. This is where we go over the 24 properties that actually sold in December 2024, just last month. And out of those 24 properties, they ended up getting almost 100% of their list price. The major caveats in this are you cannot be a trendsetter. I am so sorry, but we are no longer in the COVID days where you can list it at whatever the heck you wanted and you got that price and the appraisal came in at that price. We're no longer there. This 99%, the reason sellers are getting almost 100% of what they're asking for is because they have listed it and marketed it appropriately. They're not listing too low. They're definitely not listing too high. If you want to assure that your property will sit on the market for longer and become stale and therefore become almost like an eyesore to buyers where they think, ooh, that property's been on the market for more than the average house. What's wrong with that property? At that point, if you wanted to go with that game plan, we can list for high. That's a great way to achieve that. But sarcasm aside, I want to make sure that you know the information so that way you become as educated as possible before you sell, most likely, your greatest asset. So whether you want to sell your house now during the winter months, I have seen a lot of new buyers hit the market, especially after the election. Buyers are out there. Stay tuned and subscribe for my other future videos, but I want to go over what the new NAR settlement and how that affects you listing your house. For example, if you choose to work with me, which by the way, the only way to schedule a call with me at this time is to book a call with the link below. That's my calendar. So you can book a call whatever date and time is most convenient for you. Please answer all the questions. Make sure all selling parties are going to be on the Zoom call. That's where we're going to meet first, just to see if we'd be a good fit. If we decide we are a good fit, I'm going to send you the listing agreement and then I'm going to go out to your property to help you start marketing first. I'm going to tell you exactly what we should do or we should not do in case you were thinking about making some changes to the property. May or may not be needed, but wait until you make any changes until I come to your property so that way we can help educate you and make sure that you net the most. Again, that's what we're going for, usually, is netting the most. Sometimes you do need to sell fast. I can also help you do that, but we'll talk about that more one-on-one. Now, when we meet over Zoom, we're going to be covering 3 major things. One is going to be specifically what your goal is. Are you looking to sell fast? Are you looking to sell high? What's causing you to move? All of that. Number 2 is going to be going over the most recent market trends, what we can expect. And number 3 is going to be covering agency. I want to cover agency here for a second because I want to show you that when we talk about compensation, which is usually a hot topic with good reason, that's how much you're paying professionals to sell your property. Sellers are no longer paying or having to pay for the buyer's agent. Therefore, when you and I discuss, we're going to cover my compensation. However, you do not have to be locked in to paying a buyer agent compensation at that time or even in the future. So what does that mean, Allie? That's a lot of mumble jumble and I don't understand. When we place your property on the market and we get offers starting to come in, these offers are going to negotiate and they're going to ask for different things. There are a lot of things in which we can negotiate. Of course, list price, inspection length, close of escrow date, any contingencies, like are they going to get an appraisal? Are they going to waive it? Are they going to waive inspections? Stuff like that. They're also going to be negotiating and asking for you to pay a portion, if not all, of that buyer's agent's compensation. We no longer call it commission. We now call it compensation. Whatever. So at that point is when we can put all of those numbers in. I will help you do this and I'll let you know exactly how much you are expected to net. Again, most likely that is your goal, is to net the most. So I would be weary of saying, oh, if they're going to ask for a buyer agent compensation, just get them off the table, just say no. I'd be weary of that because we can negotiate. Everything is negotiable. Now, what I am seeing right now is even after this NAR lawsuit, and even after now sellers even more so realize, oh, I never needed to pay the buyer's agent, sellers are still paying. That's just what I'm seeing right now. Even if they're not paying the full amount of what the buyer is requesting in their offer, they're paying very close to it. So whether we wanted to give them that amount and then therefore increase the home price, or give them that amount or almost all of that amount toward their buyer's agent's compensation, we can maybe decrease the inspection period or say that we're not going to make any changes after inspections. Everything is negotiable. My job is to get the most eyeballs on your property and the most footsteps inside your property so that way we can market it to the biggest mass of people possible. My job is also to let you know what to expect. So I don't want you to expect that you can just sell at higher than all of your neighbors, because that likely is no longer the case, as we can tell from the data. And lastly, I do want to cover interest rates. That's always a hot topic, especially with buyers, but still as sellers too, because if you sell your property, where are you going to go? The interest rates do affect you, even if it's not firsthand, it's going to be secondhand. What economists are predicting as of right now is that the market for 2025 for interest rates is going to actually be relatively stable. They are going to go up a little bit. I don't want to say little is relative, right? So quarters 2 and quarter 3, they're predicting for a conventional loan mortgage rate interest to be between 7 to 7.8. Yes, that's high. It's still lower than the average of ever since we started tracking interest rates. The average is actually 8%, actually a little bit more. So we're still below that, but in general, people have short-term memories, so they just think, hey, but I got 2% a couple of years ago. We will never again see 2% in our lifetime, my prediction. And we don't see a crash coming, which is good for you as a seller. So they're predicting for 2025 to be between 6.5 as a low and 7.8 as a high, with the two highest quarters being quarter 2 and quarter 3. Again, that's with the most activity. So if you wanted to wait to sell and list your property in the summer months, be mindful of that, because yes, even though there's typically more activity as we have seen during these trends, the higher interest rate by a point or 1.5% more is going to kick buyers out, and those buyers are no longer going to be qualified for your property in Stillwater. So just be mindful of that. That is another reason to maybe sell your property now versus the summer. If you have any questions and you want to take the next step, book a call with the link below. I'll see you on the Zoom call. If you have any other questions, I have a lot of videos on my channel. For example, like this one, I'll see you there.